Loving someone with OCD is not a fairy tale. It doesn't start with love at first sight and end with happily ever after. It's a love story full of small rituals, repeated questions, anxious sighs, and exhausting days. It's a love story that demands patience, deep empathy, and the willingness to walk together through foggy roads. Maybe right now, you're in a relationship with someone who has OCD. Or maybe you're still wondering what to do if the person you love turns out to carry this invisible burden. This video is for you. A story, a guide, and maybe a warm hug. Because love, real love, is not just about enduring the sunshine. It's also about surviving the storms. And OCD? It's a storm that can rage quietly, invisibly, but relentlessly. Understanding it is not just for your partner's sake, it's for your own peace, growth, and ability to love without drowning. Understanding OCD from a partner's perspective. First, let's talk about what OCD really is from the eyes of a partner. OCD, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, is not about someone who just loves cleanliness. It's not about someone who is simply neat, organized, or loves to wash their hands a little too much. OCD is a mental health disorder marked by obsessions, unwanted, recurring thoughts, and compulsions, repetitive behaviors to reduce the anxiety caused by those thoughts. To the partner, this often appears as countless questions like, "Are you sure I locked the door?" repeated 5, 10, even 20 times. Rituals before leaving the house. Touch the doorknob 3 times. Check the stove 10 times. Emotional distress over things that seem irrational to outsiders. And for you, this becomes a daily emotional dance. Not just watching, but often getting pulled into it. Sometimes it feels like living with two people, the person you love and the OCD that hijacks their thoughts. And the hardest part? It's invisible. No broken bones. No scars. Just pain buried beneath the surface. Understanding this dichotomy can change how you react, not with frustration, but with compassion. The first step, acceptance, not fixing. The most common mistake that many partners make? Trying to fix. You see your partner anxious and your heart breaks. You want to take the anxiety away. You want to give solutions. Fast. Just don't think about it. Just try to ignore it. It's all in your head. But OCD doesn't work that way. It's not a matter of logic. It's not a bug you can debug with common sense. So instead of fixing, the first thing you can do is this: accept. Accept that your partner is not weak. Accept that this condition is not their choice. Accept that your relationship will have unique challenges. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means seeing clearly, without denial or anger. It's the foundation of true support, and it allows you to hold space for your partner without losing yourself in their struggle. Communication. The bridge that must be stronger than fear. OCD thrives in secrecy. In fear. In the feeling of being alone. That's why open, non-judgmental communication is vital. Talk to your partner. Ask what their obsessions are. Ask what helps them calm down. Ask them how you can support them without fueling their compulsions. Because sometimes, without realizing it, you might become a part of their rituals. You might start checking things for them. You might say things repeatedly just to reassure them. That feels helpful, but in the long run, it only strengthens the OCD cycle. So talk. Set boundaries together. Learn what support means for both of you. Practice saying, "I love you, but I can't participate in the compulsion. Let's face the fear together instead." Words like these are bridges, not walls. Educate yourself. Love needs knowledge. If you truly love someone with OCD, don't stop at empathy. Learn about the disorder. Watch videos from professionals. Read books. Follow accounts that talk about mental health with integrity. The more you understand OCD, the less you will take their behaviors personally. You won't feel rejected when they don't want to be touched. You won't get frustrated when they check things over and over again. You'll realize it's not about you. It's about the condition. Knowledge brings emotional strength. And knowledge also helps you protect yourself from emotional burnout. The more you know, the less you'll spiral into confusion. Celebrate small wins together. When your partner manages to hold back from a compulsion, even for 10 seconds longer than usual, celebrate that. When they agree to go to therapy, celebrate that. When they open up about their thoughts without fear of judgment, hug them and celebrate that. Because recovery from OCD is not linear. It's full of setbacks, small victories, and long pauses. If you only celebrate the big healing moments, you'll miss out on the beauty of growth. Think of it as watching a flower bloom, not in one explosion of color, but in daily stretches of light and soil. Each tiny effort? It's a miracle in disguise. When love meets anxiety, the inner struggles that go unexpressed. Many partners of OCD sufferers feel guilty when they start to get tired. But that exhaustion is human. And feeling guilty for being tired only adds more layers to the burden. You love them, that's never in doubt. But love doesn't automatically make you immune to constant exposure to anxiety. Imagine being in a glass house that gets hit by a storm every day. You might still be standing strong, but the glass will crack. And the noise outside, though not your fault, still shakes your soul. Many partners begin to blame themselves for not being patient enough. But let's be honest, being the partner of someone with OCD is a test of patience, presence, and personal boundaries all at once. And there's no manual for that. We all learn as we go. And sometimes, we break before we ask for help. Social reflection, when others don't understand and you have to explain. Really? Your husband has OCD? He seems fine. Your boyfriend is so weird. He makes you wash your hands first before hugging. Why do you keep enabling him? A partner should be in control. You might have heard these phrases. And they often come from well-meaning people who don't understand. You become the spokesperson for OCD, the mediator, the explainer for a condition you're still trying to grasp yourself. Sometimes you feel isolated. You can't talk to your friends because you're afraid your partner will be misunderstood. You can't confide in your family because they might suggest extreme measures. Just break up. This is where finding a community or support group becomes crucial. Not to complain, but to feel understood. If you're a partner to someone with OCD, you're not alone. There are others learning to love through these complexities too. And you deserve a safe space. A space where you don't have to explain the same thing 10 times just to be believed. When the relationship becomes its own therapy, the danger of codependency. Let's talk about something rarely addressed, codependency. Sometimes, the partner of an OCD sufferer gets trapped in this dynamic, feeling that they are only valuable if they can help, calm, or save the other. It sounds noble, but it's dangerous. Because if you define yourself only as the helper, you'll fear losing that role. You might even resist your partner's recovery because it means you're no longer needed. This can create an unbalanced relationship. Worse, it can prevent the OCD from ever truly improving because the cycle of compulsion and emotional support keeps reinforcing each other. The solution? Build an equal relationship. You're not the savior and they're not the victim. You're two people with your own wounds, choosing to grow together. And yes, growth includes knowing when to step back and say, I need care too. When you also struggle with your own mental health. Many people don't talk about this. What if you also have anxiety? Or past trauma? Or unresolved burnout? Loving someone with OCD under those conditions can be incredibly draining. Sometimes, you feel the relationship is only consuming, not giving. Sometimes, you feel you're constantly forced to be strong, when you're also fragile. And you deserve help too. Couple counseling can help. Even individual therapy, just for you, can be a turning point. Loving someone doesn't mean sacrificing your mental health. In fact, healthy love starts from recognizing your own needs and limits. You can't pour from an empty cup, even if that cup was once full of love. If they refuse help, what can you do? One of the toughest situations is when the partner with OCD refuses to acknowledge their condition, let alone seek help. Maybe they deny it. Maybe they say, I'm fine. Or worse, They know they have OCD, but avoid therapy out of fear of change. In these situations, you can speak with empathy. I know this is hard, but I want us to be happy without constant fear. Give specific examples of the impact. We fight over things that you know aren't really the issue. I know it's your OCD, not you. Invite them to a therapy session together. Not to corner them, but to open a mediated dialogue. But if after all efforts, there is no change and you begin to lose yourself, remember, you also have the right to walk away. Love is not a reason to disappear. When OCD affects intimacy, closeness, and sexuality, this is a very sensitive topic, but important. Many OCD sufferers experience anxiety related to sexuality, including fears of harming, contaminating, or being morally wrong. As a result, the relationship becomes cold. Touch can trigger panic. Even conversations about intimacy become battlegrounds. As a partner, this can be very painful because you start to feel rejected, even though you know it's not about you. The solution? Not to force intimacy, but to build trust. Open communication. I miss being close to you, but I don't want to trigger your panic. We can take it slow. Therapy together. There are OCD and relationship specialists who can help bridge this. Broaden the definition of intimacy. Intimacy isn't just physical, but about safety, understanding, and connection. And when trust is rebuilt, intimacy of all forms can return gently, at its own pace. You love someone with OCD. That is a kind of love not many understand because it's not always visible from the outside. This love requires patience, courage, and extraordinary inner strength. But you're also human. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to feel confused. You're even allowed to feel overwhelmed. And among all the must stay strong, you also deserve to be held, understood, and helped. A healthy relationship is not a perfect one, but one that keeps growing with mature love and a willingness to learn. Don't forget, you are not alone. And not all love must hurt to endure. You are worthy of a relationship that nurtures both hearts. Not just one,